We reached the campsite as the sun was setting. On the way, we laughed and teased each other, excited to escape the chaos of the city. I was with 3 friends, John, Alex, and David. We spent a short while setting up our tents, organizing food, and gathering wood for the fire. The silence of the forest and the absence of artificial noise filled me with peace. And the rustle of leaves beneath our feet and sunlight filtering through the trees gave us a sense of calm. As we walked, there was a brief silence. Only the sound of our footsteps and the faint rustle of the wind filled the air. I realized how refreshing it was to be away from the city noise. Our thoughts felt clearer, lighter. David chuckled softly. This place really is another world. We all nodded and spent a few moments just listening to the quiet. The forest's serenity enveloped us, though a faint unease lingered within me. We started setting up the tents and lighting the fire. Alex gathered branches while John struck the lighter, and sparks flew, flames rising and easing our nerves. The fire illuminated our faces, pushing the forest's darkness a few meters back. We sat around it, sharing old memories, small jokes, and laughter. Time seemed to slow, and as we gazed at the stars, the weight of silence settled over us. Calm enveloped the night, though a subtle tension remained inside me. As hours passed, our conversation slowed. The crackling of the fire echoed in our ears, and the wind whispered through the trees. John tried to tell a strange story but ended up laughing at his own words and fell silent. I too felt the fatigue pulling me toward sleep. As we retreated to our tents, the darkness of the forest felt heavier. A shiver ran through me, but I closed my eyes and listened to the forest's murmurs. Around midnight, I woke several times. The rustling leaves and distant animal sounds reached my ears. The noises outside the tent were unsettling. Shadows seemed to move. At one point, I heard a faint rustling from Alex's tent, but assuming it was normal, I tried to sleep again. Moonlight filtered through the trees, casting strange shadows. In the morning, I would remember this night as just an ordinary camping night. When the sunlight hit my tent, I woke up. We slowly stirred and tidied our surroundings. We had a few sandwiches for breakfast. David suggested, "Shall we take a walk around the area?" We liked the idea. Carrying water bottles, we ventured into the forest. At first, the birdsong and rustling leaves accompanied us, but as we went further, silence grew heavier. It felt as if unseen eyes were watching us. Each step demanded focus. Our first walk began on a short trail. We touched tree trunks, feeling their rough bark and mossy dampness. The sounds of insects and the crackle of broken twigs kept our senses alert. Every step required careful attention. David paused for a moment. "It's quiet, but there's a strange calm here," he said. John moved through the shrubs, sometimes bending to inspect marks on stones and leaves. Soon we encountered the carcass of a decayed animal. The smell was unbearable, a sharp disgust hitting our noses. We all stepped back. John frowned. Which animal could have done this? The tracks were strange, as if not natural. A sense of unease settled within us, but we pressed on. We had come for enjoyment, not fear. The forest's depth evoked curiosity alongside a subtle tension. Deeper into the forest, we saw scattered feathers, broken branches, and strange marks. Occasionally, scratches on tree bark or unusual shapes on leaves caught our attention. Silence fell, broken only by our footsteps and breathing. Unease slowly crept in. We scrutinized every shadow and rustle, trying to make sense of them. This quiet fear left us breathless, hearts pounding. Returning to camp, we sat by the fire. By evening, a slight unease lingered in me. We retreated to our tents. During the night, distant sounds and rustling leaves reached our ears. As I began to drift off, a sudden rustle in the bushes made my heart race. John poked his head out of the tent. "I'll check the source of that sound, but don't tell anyone," he said. I nodded, unable to object. John left quietly. His footsteps faded. I waited, straining to listen, but fatigue soon overcame me, and I fell asleep. When I awoke, Alex and David were already up, but John was still gone. At first I thought maybe he had gone to the bathroom or was taking a walk. He's probably just out for a little walk or two. Use the bathroom, I told myself. Yet there was no sound, no movement. The silence was heavy. A creeping sense of worry began to settle in. Alex and David, noticing his absence, showed concern and mild panic. Inside me, a quiet guilt emerged. Why had I let him go alone? Why hadn't I insisted he stay with us? Perhaps if I had been there, none of this would have happened. My heart pounded, guilt and anxiety intertwined. For a moment, to break the silence, I called out to him, "John, we're here. Can you hear us?" But there was no reply. Only the wind's moan and the trees' rustle answered. That instant, guilt deepened. Letting him go alone and prioritizing my comfort weighed heavily on me. Carrying water bottles, we entered the forest. The first step sent shivers through me. Leaves rustled, wind whispered through the trees. We called for John, and when there was no answer, our hearts raced. Every corner, every shadow felt like a trap hiding him. We checked small shrubs first, then ventured deeper. Each step was filled with silence, tension, and quickened breaths. In the forest depths, we saw broken branches, strange hollows, and stones on the ground. David stopped. "There's something here," he said, hands trembling. We watched silently. Every step sharpened our senses, and our own footsteps felt alien. We were searching for John, but found only mystery and fear. After more than an hour, we thought we heard John's voice from afar. "John," we shouted, but there was no reply. We ran, only to find emptiness. Shadows through the bushes, the play of light, and the wind's moan deceived our eyes. The spark of hope was fleeting. Fear deepened. Guilt slowly weighed on our shoulders. Alex approached some rocks and noticed broken branches and strange stains. "He went through here," he whispered. We proceeded cautiously. Each corner held new oddities. Carved bark, withered flowers, as if something had ransacked the area. We were pursuing John, yet with every moment, he seemed to vanish further. Anxiety and guilt intertwined, the silence choking our breaths. As the sun slowly set, fear peaked. Alex and David's faces were pale, eyes wide. Every shadow seemed John, every rustle prompted a dash. Time felt lost in the forest. The trees seemed to pull us in, shadows growing stranger. Our hearts pounded as if they would burst. Each step heightened the guilt and fear. Why had we allowed him to go alone? Suddenly, David shouted, "Here, I found him." We ran to the riverbank. John lay there, his clothes torn, body covered in blood. At first glance, he seemed to breathe, but his eyes were blank, lips unmoving. Alex screamed, and I sank to my knees. Guilt, fear, and helplessness intertwined. My heart felt shattered. We had to lift him. Supporting him together, we carried him back to the campsite. Silence fell. No one could speak. John's condition was horrifying. He couldn't speak or move. We laid him by the tent. The forest's quiet and distant moans made the situation even heavier. Still unsure of what had happened, we began gathering our gear. Alex and David, trembling, packed their bags. Our only thought was to leave the forest as soon as possible. John remained frozen, staring blankly. Guilt and helplessness grew inside me. I felt responsible for letting him go alone. Every step pressed the weight of my mistake down on me. By the time we reached the car, we were still silent. We placed John in the seats. Each of us was lost in our thoughts. What had happened? What had he encountered in the forest? None of us knew. The only certainty was that these few days had changed our lives forever. John remained silent. His quiet told the most terrifying story of all.